Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer our respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, to Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and to Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. Nama Om Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ikinam Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravana Pichanani Visesha Sunyavadi Paskita. Om Vyanta Narandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksoravimutam Jena Shazmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we're coming to the end. So the last chapter. What?
Oh, I thought it was a mark over the A.
Yeah. A big one.
Okay, so this is text 50, and the Pandavas retire timely. Draupadi Cha Tadagyaya Draupadi Cha Tadagyaya Patinam Anapekshatam Patinam Anapekshatam Vasudeve Bhagavati Vasudeve Bhagavati He Ekanta Matir Apa Tam He Ekanta Matirapatam Draupadi Cha Tadagyaya Patinam Anapekshatam Vasudeve Bhagavati Ekanta Matirapatam Draupadi Cha Tadagyaya Patitanam Anapekshatam Vasudevi Bhagavati He Ekanta Matirapatam Draupadi Cha Tadagyaya Patitanam Anapekshatam Vasudeve Bhagavati He Ekanta Matirapatam
Draupadi Cha Tadagyaya Patinam Anapekshatam Vasudevi Bhagavati He Ekanta Matirapatam Draupadi Cha Tadagyaya Patinam Anapekshatam Vasudeve Bhagavati He Ekanta Matirapatam. Okay then, so the word for word is Draupadi, the wife of the Pandavas. Cha, and Tada, at that time. Agyaya, knowing Lord Krishna fully well. Patinam, of the husbands. Anapekshatam, who did not care for her. Vasudeve, unto Lord Vasudeva. Krishna. Bhagavati, the personality of Godhead. He, exactly. Eka anta, absolutely. Mati, concentration. Apa, God. Tam, him, the Lord. So I'll say, then you repeat. Draupadi also saw that her husbands, Draupadi also saw that her husbands,
without caring for her, were leaving home. She knew well about Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Both she and Subhadra became absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and attained the same results as their husbands. Draupadi also saw that her husbands, without caring for her, were leaving home. She knew well about Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Both she and Subhadra became absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and attained the same results as their husbands. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When flying an airplane, one cannot take care of other planes. Everyone has to take care of his own plane. And if there's any danger, no other plane can help another in that condition. Similarly, at the end of life, when one has to go back home, back to Godhead, everyone has to take care of himself or herself without help rendered by another. The help is, however, offered on the ground before flying in space. Similarly, the spiritual master, the father, the mother, the relatives, the husband, and others can all render help during one's lifetime. But while crossing the sea, one has to take care of himself and utilize the instructions formally received. Draupadi had 5 husbands, and no one asked Draupadi to come. Draupadi had to take care of herself without waiting for her great husbands. And because she was already trained, she at once took to concentration upon the lotus feet of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The wives also got the same result as their husbands, in the same manner. That is to say, without changing their bodies, they reached the destination of Godhead. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur suggests that both Draupadi and Subhadra, although her name is not mentioned herein, that is Subhadra's name, got the same result. None of them had to quit the body. Draupadi also saw that her husbands, without caring for her, were leaving home. She knew well about Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Both she and Subhadra became absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and attained the same results as their husbands. So this Draupadi was a very special personality, and she teaches us well in so many ways in her lifetime. And some of the experiences that she had leading up to this prepared her for this moment. Even though it sounds kind of, at first reading you think, oh, well, her husbands didn't care, they didn't ask her to come. But when you actually read deeper and study other examples of famous devotee husbands and wives, and you understand that at that moment, when it's time now to prepare to leave the external realm, the material world, it's up to the individual. You have to make that journey on your own. You have to prepare. Everything that you've done in your lifetime prepares you for that one moment. And no one else can do it for you. You have to do it. You have to be prepared. Draupadi was especially well versed in this, in the sense that she went through the awful embarrassment and ridicule and actually a form of violent rape against her by Dronacharya, Karna, and the rest because of their hatred for the Pandavas and because of they desired her so much. And she knew then, she looked to her husbands, and because of their dedication to their Kshatriya role, the obligations of the codes of the Kshatriya, all of them except for Bhima was fully prepared to just grab her and run and beat take them all on. But as far as I have ascertained, that he was so agitated, it was very difficult. They had to restrain him, and but they didn't help her. And then she looked to her elders, like Grandfather Bhishma, Dronacharya was there, all these senior people that, even in a sense, Dhritarashtra, you could think that he would be sympathetic to her, because, I'm sure, if there were other women involved, they would have influenced their husbands not to do this. This is an abomination. Karna edged on Dronacharya, let's see her naked in front of everyone. So then she realizes no one's going to help her, and she fights them off as hard as she can. And let's go back a step here. That these are Kshatriya women. They're not shrinking violets. Is that the expression, shrinking violets? So, because I heard a story. One devotee was talking. It was either about doing the play of the kidnapping of Rukmini, or it was one of the artists asking about doing a painting about the kidnapping of Rukmini. And Prabhupada they were asking what was Rukmini doing while Krishna was fighting them off. And how is it he was able to drive a chariot and fight them off? And Prabhupada said, what do you mean? I mean, Rukmini was there. She grabbed the reins and she's driving the chariot. And the devotee's thinking, really? I don't remember reading that in the Krishna book. And so he goes back and looks and he didn't see it anywhere. So he realized then Prabhupada either had some, maybe there was some description in the Mahabharata or something that wasn't available at the time, or Prabhupada was seeing something. I gotta tell you one quick side note here. I just heard this devotee, this microphone is far away, is that okay? Does it make any difference? Okay. So, this devotee's name is Vaikuntanath, and he knew it was kind of a slightly, not a really important question, but he just thought he'd go in and ask Prabhupada. And some devotee had said that the moon planet is self-luminous. So he goes in and asks Prabhupada. Prabhupada takes off his glasses and he goes like this. And he's like this for about, he said it seemed like 2 minutes or so. He's like deeply in thought. And then he goes, I don't see that. So he's thinking to himself, but did he just go there? Did you just see it? I mean, there is at least one or two devotees have mentioned that they walked into the room and Prabhupada, it was an afternoon and there were sun rays, the rays of the sun were coming in. And Prabhupada, they asked if they were disturbing him, and he said, no, I was practicing riding on the rays of the sun to the sun planet. several devotees have said that. They're in the memory tapes. I know one of their names, but anyway. So their Kshatriya, and whenever their marriage ceremony took place, there was blood. It wasn't like they just went to the market and bought kumkum and put a red dot or in their hair. No, they are actually using blood because somebody is going to get injured or dead. There was a fight. Even after she had chosen, there was going to be a fight. You had to fight to get this woman. And so Draupadi was a strong Kshatriya wife, but she was also obviously not an ordinary personality. She's beyond the roles of Varna or ashram. She's a transcendentalist. She's of the highest order, because she so surrendered to Krishna when she couldn't fight. I think it was Dushashan who was trying to pull it off, the sari, and she's fighting with him. And he's a big Kshatriya, and she's fighting back. And she finally realizes it's not going to work. I can't rely on my husbands. I can't rely on all of the elders, and I can't rely on my own personal strength. The only hope I have is Krishna. So she just lets go. And please, Krishna, please. And then unlimited sari came. And they just keep pulling and pulling and pulling. And they can't get what they want. They never see them again. Total surrender. That Draupadi moment when you completely realize there is no other way but to surrender to Krishna. Not your husband, not your father, not your grandpa, not your son, not your strength, not your wits. Krishna. And that's for everybody. I mean, you can ask Colleen. For the last 10 years I've been saying, I just had a Draupadi moment. Because we were just right up against it. And then something would happen that was not of this, it was obviously beyond my control. So she was prepared for this, and so was obviously Lady Subhadra. And this isn't, it's not like, and actually, in fact, if you think about it, at the time of death, we shouldn't be thinking of our spouses. We shouldn't be concerned about that. We should be meditating on the Supreme Lord. So they knew that she knew what to do. But then you have the story of, Sita's a little bit different. But she wants to go with her husband to the forest, even though she didn't have to. She insisted on it. And she was also, a princess, very delicate body. They're used to living in palaces. They never left the palaces, except for maybe in the compound. So they to walk in the forest, their feet, touching the ground. This is and not proper foods, just depending on the fruits and the berries and whatever else they might eat, the leaves or even the bark of the trees. And not having all the nice, beautiful dresses and so on, having to depend on whatever you can provide from the forest. And then she gets kidnapped. And here, Lord Ram could create 100,000 of Sitas. But, why this one? But this one he fought for. He wasn't necessarily dependent on her, but to show that, yes, the husband does protect the wife when it's actually in the right, in in normal circumstances. You know, like, it's not like the Pandavas were not protecting Draupadi. So when you first hear this, you think they just left without telling her. And she was on her own now. But that's what you expect. But with Sita, she went and she wasn't supposed to go. And he could have created so many Sitas. But instead, there was another mission here. And he went up against the greatest military force on the planet. Maybe really in history. I know America likes to brag about our military and so on. But the weapons that Ravana had were far superior, far more dangerous than what is presently on the planet. Although these weapons in the hands of these fools can be also very, very harmful and dangerous to everyone. But Ravana had a great military force. And what did Ramchandra, he didn't go back to Ayodhya to get his armies. He could have done that. No one would have criticized because they all wanted to go with him anyway. No, he used what he could get from the forest, which was the monkeys, Hanuman, Sugriva, and I think there were bears too, weren't there? Bears. That's what he fought up against the greatest military force, maybe in the four yugas on the planet, and he went up against them with monkeys and bears. Oh my! And and a spider helped build a bridge. I think it was a spider, something like that. And you can see it. You can really see it. I saw it on YouTube. You can see that bridge. It's there. There's also a spot. I don't know the exact pastime, but apparently, after Sita is retrieved by Lord Ramachandra, she wants a drink of fresh Ganges water. So he shoots an arrow into the ocean at the shore, and the Ganga comes up, and she drank from it. And you can go to that spot right now. You walk out on a pier, and it's all ocean, the Indian Ocean, or whatever that little area is called there. And you get a cup of Ganga water. People go out there and get it. There's somebody there. It's still there. So and then you have Prithu Maharaj with Mother Archie, Queen Archie. She was an expansion of the goddess of fortune. She goes into the forest. In her case, it's a little bit different. She's following her husband, much like Gandhari did. And Gandhari, we know, she had the extra added handicap that she had to keep her eyes blindfolded. So she's following her husband, and she goes up in the flames when her husband self-emulates himself. I think it's in a cottage or something. And she also burns up. And, they call it sati, which was acceptable then, but it's not acceptable for this age. Unless Prabhupada said in some isolated, solitary places, some woman wants to, then that's another issue. But it became something that was being forced, and it was abusive, and not in the right mood. And this is Kali Yuga. So people will misunderstand. So then Archie goes out with King Prithu when it's time for him to leave. And she is very delicate. She's never been outside the palace. She's walking on the forest floor with twigs and thorns and eating just the fruits and berries. She's becoming very frail. Her clothes are all very ragged. But she's doing this out of her devotion to her husband. And then when he leaves his body, she builds the fire. This is the thing that I've always really wondered about, because she's been out there for a while. They say that she's very frail and she hasn't been eating properly, but yet she builds the funeral pyre and places her husband on top of it. Then she starts the fire. She takes water, like Achman, and circumambulates the fire, his burning body 3 times, and then she enters the fire. And the demigoddesses, the women of the higher planetary systems, they have the ability to see below them and above them. And they're all watching this happen. And they see, first of all, they can see Prithu being taken away in a spiritual airplane, going up, 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 past the heavenly planets where they are, and going off into the spiritual realm, into the Vaikuntha planets. And then she enters the fire, and simultaneously, and it describes, it's kind of similar about, the change of body, because it says as soon as they walk in, that material body is burnt up, but they then are in their spiritual body. And it sort of indicates it's the same. And they see her flying in her plane just behind his, both in 2 separate planes. And this is a point that Prabhupada wants to strongly make in one of the purports, that they don't lose their identity. They still remain Archie and Prithu. They don't merge into the impersonal Brahmajyoti. And she flies off in her plane, and all the women of the celestial abodes are saying, "Oh, glories to Queen Archie. Just see how she is following her husband, just like she followed him throughout her whole life." And they're all showering flowers down on her. And they're watching, and they become, in a sense, I guess jealous would be the word. Although you don't really sense it's a kind of negative jealousy, but they have an admiration that they're not interested in the celestial world, because they know they're in the heavenly. They can see the earth where Prithu and Archie were, where we are, is below the heavenly realm. It's a lower planet, but they're now going past the celestial world, and they know that their lives, even though it may last for millions of years, their lives are going to end. Abrahma Bhuvana Loka. There are places in this earth, whether you're a Brahma or below, everyone must experience birth, death, old age, and disease. And so they see that they're passing through the celestial world. They're not interested in it at all, and they enter into Vaikuntha, to a special planet where Prithu and Archie are residing eternally. And they're just, completely, have total devotion and admiration for her, and for the way they lived their lives together, and the way she served her husband. And in this regard, Prabhupada speaks very strongly against divorce. Of course, in Kali Yuga, things are what they are. But this is, and also, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't read it so recently, but what I remember is that we should know that this is the standard. We should know that this is the highest standard, but to imitate it or to expect it to happen tomorrow or, the next generation, But the mood that the husband is devoted to his wife and his family, and he must protect them and must provide for them. At the time of death, he must leave them and absorb himself in meditation, complete meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and leave without any distractions. And I heard recently I don't know where it was, but someone was saying that Prabhupada said that the pain at the time of death is like 100,000 scorpions biting you, being dragged out of your material body. The pain of being whipped out of that body is so painful, and you have to stay fixed and tolerate that pain and think of Krishna. So you can't have any distractions like that. I mean, recently I met one Mataji about a year ago I'm friends with. I'm going to speak who they are, but her husband had died a couple of years prior to that, and she was upset because the way he did it, he kind of locked her out of it and didn't completely tell her that it was happening. And I said, he was just trying to protect you, and he was trying to, they stay focused on what he was doing. And I think she understood, because I knew him and I could understand. It wasn't like something cold. It was that he had to do the necessary to stay focused on the Supreme Personality of God at the time of death. So, and the way the wife follows, like, we have our vows in the West that says, in happiness and distress, in health and disease, and for richer, for poorer, in good times and bad, death do us part. That is the actual proper mood, and it's there. But we have what is called a disposable civilization. They actually, I saw something a couple of years ago, that the man who came up with the concept of making products so that they'll have a 3-year or a 5-year lifetime, they were glorifying him as the genius of capitalism. Because, when we were growing up, they made things to last. The cars, they were steel. I mean, and the products, I've had this since I was, my grandfather had this, and I still have it. I still have that mentality, and it's just, I'm moving in the past. Because they purposely make things so that you have to come back to buy. And so, it's a disposable civilization, and that's for profit motive, but it's also it carries into all of our relationships. As soon as there's some difficulty, we're growing apart. We just don't understand one another. Well, that is just a phase of life. You have to work this out. I mean, unless, of course, if there's, some serious violence involved and serious abuse involved, it's time, place, and circumstance. Like I just finished saying, that these aren't things that we can imitate. But we're supposed to try to understand the point. Why are we reading about these stories? Because because it's all related to Krishna. And they're showing us what is the highest good, what is the best thing, and what is the right way to die, and how should a husband and wife live together. What is the proper mentality? I mean, unfortunately, this whole feminism thing, Prabhupada said it's the men's fault. That they've created it because they want to exploit women even more. And but this, it's not. I always say it's not properly named, because feminism would mean that they want to become more feminine, but they don't. They want to become more like men. And that has created a real problem in society. Like it says in the Bhagavad Gita, it's better to do your own service, even though imperfectly, than to do another's perfectly. Because it creates chaos in the social fabric. But all of this whole creation, this whole material creation, and And we're only just reading about this one particular group of people. But these group of people are directly connected to Krishna. And so it's purifying. But all of this is really, it's all part of Krishna's pastimes, because this material universe is Krishna's energy. And so it's either you're favorably, every one of us is engaged in serving Krishna in some way or another. You're either doing it favorably or unfavorably. You're either doing it in a way that's benefiting you and others, or that it's doing harm to yourself and others. But this is Krishna's prison house. It's his place. And you can, the human body is said to be the perfect boat in this material creation. And the spiritual master is a perfect navigator. And Krishna's instructions are the favorable winds. So we have a good boat, the human form of life, and we have a great navigator, the founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And we have, by his mercy, he's translated the favorable winds, the instructions of Krishna on how to cross over to the other side. And to use this material energy as a way to spiritualize things. That it has a spiritual, because it is all Krishna's energy, as we've been discussing over the last few classes. That this is all Krishna's energy, and Krishna's in every atom and in between every atom. It's only us that don't see Krishna. We turn away. Like I was thinking about this morning, that if I'm chanting and I'm just like my mind's elsewhere, I mean, I'm actually associating with Krishna and Radharani and Lord Balaram. But if I'm just kind of like, I'm thinking about things, it's just like I'm babbling. I actually have the chance to talk to Krishna, and I'm babbling to Krishna. But if I actually am seriously concentrate in this conversation with Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, he will eventually begin to talk back to me by giving me the proper intelligence, the purified intelligence, so that I can utilize this very rare gift that I've been given, this human form of life, at this very rare moment in creation. And so that I don't waste it. I don't throw away. It's like it's all of a sudden I've inherited, $100 billion, and what do? I go out on a gambling spree and, and I just blow it all. No, I have something even more valuable than that. I have the association of Srila Prabhupada and his followers, and the Archa Vigraha forms of the Lord that have been properly installed. And I have the mantra, the sacred mantra that the Smarta Brahmins didn't want us to hear. And so in other words, I get to have the personal association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his consort Radharani, just by saying Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, like that. So it's a great opportunity that we have. I think I can't remember whether if there was any questions or comments. Well, my wife first raised her hand.
I was just when I was the last couple of days when his stepfather was in hospice, and
not the last couple of days, but the last couple of days he was in hospice. You mean?
Yes.
Okay.
And all I was thinking about was he kept asking, "What day is it? What day is it?" And we would tell him. he was trying to live so he could get my mother another payment of his pension. You know, that was his worry. And when I went, he was going to die, and I went up to him, and my brother could tell that I was probably going to say something terrible, like Hare Krishna. But I didn't want to upset the family, so I just did a Hail Mary and literally stepped back. I thought, this is so wrong that they're not, I mean, and I wasn't a paka anything, you know, Hare Krishna or Catholic, but I just knew this is wrong, that we should appeal to God, you know. He should be in that room. I mean, he is in that room. But to not give him any acknowledgement was just awful.
Well, and in that light, that one of the reasons why Colin's mother was so against me, because she thought she had been to some kind of seminar about cults, especially the Hare Krishnas, and she and the stepfather, when they met me, they told me that we know that you Hare Krishnas own all the hotels in Hawaii, and the leaders are having big luau orgies, eating pigs, and I said, well, I was actually one of the mid-level managers, and nobody told me anything about that. I'd like to know which one I own. You know, so that's the way they thought of me. They thought I was some corrupt, and they thought of the Hare Krishnas. At least the Catholics, but even they didn't have much respect for the Catholics because of some.
Yeah, when I started to go, I was going to Mass more, and I was telling my mother, I thought this would make her happy. And she said, now be careful, because they're always recruiting. Good grief. I've got an atheist, my mother. It's just...
You were going to say something?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just, because you were talking about chanting attentively, I saw it on Facebook, right? Somebody posted, looked like they said it was written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I don't know, but I think it said that. But anyway, it was like, if you're chanting it attentively, chant anyway. If your mind isn't going a million different places, chant anyway. If you're making offenses, chant anyway, etc., chant anyway. Because even if we're doing it poorly, there's something we're hearing. There's some improvement. So you keep trying. And also I've heard that the cure for offensive chanting is more chanting. Of course, you got to be trying, but the cure is more chanting. Not to
You have to be careful not to use that as an excuse. Well, he said I could just keep doing it. You have to. That's definitely the cure, but you can't use it as an excuse. Because another offense is to maintain your material attachments even after understanding so many instructions. So if you understand that. But because even though I'm saying that I had that realization, doesn't mean I chanted attentively today.
Keep on trying.
But I was a little bit more attentive. Maybe for a few seconds. And I was thinking, just see how attentive I am. Well, now I really understand. Now I think I'm making a mess now. Not go off on another. Yes?
Few things that the conflict.
It's really hard to because those lights.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can hear you. It's
Okay.
stinging because the lights are in my eye.
Yeah. When you're talking about how no one can save you, not your family or anything, when you're dying, how it's important to keep Krishna there in your mind. And what came to my mind was this nice little thing I heard on right. I'm almost positive this is Prabhupada saying how no one can save you, not your family, not your wealth, and I heard him say, not your gun. No
Yeah.
one can save you, only the mercy of Krishna. And the other thing in my mind was that when you were talking about the bears and the
Monkeys.
monkeys, how Robin, when I was reading, I'm sorry I don't know the exact details, but he was cursed by different munis and sages that these different, like these kind of animals would be the downfall. He'd be killed, or the downfall of his Rakshasa race, that they would be the.
Really?
He had all these curses from this one. She was meditating on Vishnu, and Robin came and tried to, rape her or whatever, and she got so upset, where he touched her and Harry threw her down, and immediately she cursed him too, that it was her, that she would come again from the ground, from the earth, and that would be the downfall of Robin and the Rakshasas. Of course, we know that as Sita.
Right.
So all these curses were coming about for Robin to see how.
But I also heard that there was a curse by a similar curse where if he ever took a woman against her will, this was a different woman though, because he did take her.
Yes.
And and that woman was, married to a Brahmin, or yeah.
Her name was Ramba. She was a
Ramba.
Apsara, and she was married to in the Damodar River pastimes. Yeah, either Nalakuvara or Manipura.
Yeah.
And the third thing I was thinking when you were talking about chanting Hare Krishna, there's a quote that comes to my mind. How this man asked, well, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, but I'm also thinking of my family and everything like that. And Prabhu encouraged and said, keep on chanting because there's a fight. You have Maya on one side and Krishna. So that will come, that those thoughts will come, but just keep on chanting. And sooner or later Krishna will win. I can't remember exactly, but Krishna will have it where victory, it will be victory, where that Maya will be gone. What you're saying to me is important.
Yeah, eventually you get there, yes.
Thank you for sharing again the example of the perfect boat, the body, the perfect captain, Prabhupada.
Well, it's actually not my example, it's Prabhupada's.
Right, thanks for sharing it again. And the perfect, the favorable winds. And on that planned obsolescence concept, the businessman, in his favor, the businessman that came up with that supposedly wanted to bring products back and recycle them physically into new products. But they said, no, we can make more money if we don't do that.
Well, it was
Junkie. Yeah.
So, yes.
I have to go. Thank you so much for the class. Lately, all this is on my mind, that's this, that, all. But a change of subject, there is a girl here named Kara visiting. So if anyone see her, just tell her how nice you thought about it.
And she's
We
from the
met her last
farm.
night. She came to the Frontier Club meeting.
It's like have you all seen a little artwork where a frog holds a
Oh, yeah.
thing? That's kind of a thing I have, which I never gave up on. I met her only once.
She came back.
And then I just stayed with her the whole time. She went through a roller coaster in Florida and then somewhere else, but I was always there. And so she came back to give us a try and see whether
You mean you kept in touch with her?
always.
Really?
I met her only once, but then I just stayed with her.
She's the one who's in the warehouse. No.
Audition.
It's really sweet.
She's in the trailer? She's in the trailer?
Yeah, for right now.
And she's going to fix up her cabin. She was born on the farm,
Kara?
the hippie farm.
Laura Farm.
Well,
Very young.
I went there once as a devotee. It's
Wow.
very rare. But I knew the right things to say, so I had a girlfriend who, read his book, and she took me to the last meeting, the last Monday night meeting, before they went on the caravan. So I knew all the right words, and the two devotees I was with, Mogalila and Radha Mohan, Amoghadeva was very helpful. Radha Mohan was very rigid, and so our stay ended shorter than I would like. But it's very hard. They're very careful about who they let into their community. But what they do in the morning, they go around and blow conch shells to wake everybody up.
Wow.
At least that's what they were doing back then.
Wow. It was Tuesday night meetings, they called it.
Was it
Was it
Tuesday? I
Monday?
thought it was Monday night. I
Oh,
can't remember.
could be.
It was one of those.
Yeah.
It was one of those nights.
It wasn't far from Murari.
No, it doesn't. No, but I'm talking about back in San Francisco.
Before they left.
It was Somerton or Somerville or something like that.
Before they left on their caravan.
Yeah, they were in San Francisco, North Beach.
Hundreds of them left.
Yeah, they went on a big caravan,
Yeah, buses.
and they traveled all over the country, and they settled on that. And she wanted me to go, and I said, I don't think so. So Krishna was protecting me, and something like when the first time I saw Maharishi on this show called the Alan Burke Show. I didn't know Prabhupada had been on it. I just heard Nanda Kishore talk about the night he saw Prabhupada and Alan Burke. Alan Burke in New York. Do you remember Alan Burke? Yeah.
There was then another guy.
Yeah, there was another guy. I can't remember his name. He was, and they
There
were
was another guy that was insulting everybody.
Yeah, they just, everybody coming.
There was a guy named Joe Pine.
Yeah.
Might have been him, might have been that. But they were awful. This was local in the New York area. And they just would rip real New York stuff, And so I saw Maharishi on there, and I thought, this guy's... and when I heard the Beatles were into him, I thought, well, I don't think they're as intelligent as I thought they were. I just completely lost all respect for them. He had this silly little laugh, and it just made no sense. It was just a bunch of gobbledygook. It made no sense. It's like Colleen said something to me the other day, and I've been thinking about it. And then I heard Prabhupada say, because back then he was talking in 1969. He said, so many gurus are coming and they're saying, I am God, I've become God, and I can make you God in 6 months. And people are believing this. Mm-hmm. If you come with the truth, they hate you. But if you come with some cheating process, they love you. And I teach you, and I'll sell you this mantra for, back then it was $35. And
$100.
yeah, well, it became $100 later. And $35. I'll say, and he said, Prabhupada said, if it's so potent, why should it be paid? It should be free. You cannot become God. What is the qualities of God? Do you even know what the qualities of God? So then Colleen was saying something about the actual representative of God. And I realized, this is a selling point. We don't claim to be God. And we don't claim to be able to make you God. But what we do claim is, we are representatives of God. Bona fide representatives of God. And we can make you a bona fide representative of the Lord. Just follow these 4 rules and chant this one mantra and read these books. And you too can be a representative of the Supreme Lord. Pretty good. Yeah. It's not a bad thing. It is. But just think about it. We get to be a representative of God. And we know the representative. He's a representative of God, Krishna. It's amazing. This is not a cheap thing. Anyway, Hari Bol.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hey.